Hello, and welcome back to the third video in the series, Human in Command, a channel dedicated to AI governance. I misspoke last time when I said that this video would be on verifiability. There is another important principle that needs to be covered before that. So today we will cover Principle 3, moral and irreversible decisions must remain human-controlled. And as usual, if you find these videos useful, please hit the like button and subscribe to be notified of new videos when they're posted. So let's begin. There is a world of difference between asking an AI to draft a routine meeting summary and allowing it to decide a person's future. One is a matter of administrative efficiency, the other is a matter of human destiny. You might trust an algorithm to suggest the best route for your morning commute, but would you trust it to determine your access to credit, your eligibility for a job, or the outcome of a medical diagnosis? That difference is what we call the human line. In our first two videos, we established that human accountability is absolute and that AI must function as a partner, not as an authority. Today, we are drawing a boundary. We are defining the point where the partnership must stop, short of final control. This brings us to Principle 3. Moral and irreversible decisions must remain under human control. AI can be a powerful partner for gathering information, identifying patterns, and analyzing risks. But when a decision involves life, safety, rights, or human dignity, the algorithm cannot be the final arbiter. The logic is simple. The more severe or irreversible the consequence, the stronger the requirement for meaningful human authority. We must recognize the world we are entering. AI is rapidly moving from simple chat interfaces into agentic workflow systems capable of taking actions across digital environments and executing multi-step tasks with minimal intervention. These systems are moving into actuators. They are deleting files, managing financial queues, and screening thousands of applicants in high-stakes professional contexts. But as these systems become more capable, a dangerous gap is emerging, the autonomy competence gap. In the Agents of Chaos study, researchers found that current AI agents often operate with what they call level 4 capability, but only level 2 understanding. This means an agent is technically capable of performing complex system-level actions, like installing software or modifying configurations, but it lacks the situational self-model to understand the social meaning or the proportionality of those actions. Think of the nuclear option case study from that research. An autonomous agent was tasked with protecting a secret password. Because it lacked a surgical tool for selective deletion, and more importantly, common sense proportionality, the agent chose a nuclear response. To protect that one secret, it autonomously reset its owner's entire email infrastructure, wiping out archives, contacts, and settings. The agent succeeded in its narrow goal of protecting the data, but it did so by destroying the owner's digital assets without understanding the systemic damage it was causing. It acted with social incoherence. It executed the steps perfectly, but it failed the judgment test. It crossed the human line because it was granted authority over an irreversible action without human moral context. This is why we must distinguish between AI support and human authority. Frameworks like the EU AI Act already recognize this by identifying high-risk categories. These include recruitment, credit scoring, education, and essential public services. In these domains, the law and ethics demand more than just a human in the loop. They demand active oversight. AI is excellent at organizing evidence. It can surface a candidate's specific skills or identify a trend in a financial history that a human might miss. It can summarize thousands of pages of medical research in seconds. But this is decision support, where AI is most valuable. But a recommendation is not a decision. Judgment is required where values, context, and mercy matters. An algorithm can calculate a score, but it cannot exercise mercy. It can identify a pattern of risk, but it cannot understand the inherent dignity of the person behind that data. Responsibility, by its very nature, is something a machine cannot feel. It cannot bear the moral burden of a choice, nor can it be held accountable for life-altering mistakes. Because the machine cannot pay the price for failure, it must not hold the power to cause it. So how do we operationalize this in our daily work? We use a practical governance test: probability, consequence, and action. First, we ask about probability. How likely is it that an AI-assisted error, a subtle bias, or a technical hallucination could occur? In probabilistic systems like large language models, that likelihood is never zero. Next, we look at consequences. If that error happens, what's the cost? Is it merely a typo in an email, or is it a severe financial loss? Is it a reputational blow, a denial of a legal right, or an irreversible harm to someone's health or safety? If the consequence moves from routine to severe or irreversible, the human line has been reached. Finally, we must determine the action. Before proceeding, we have to decide: can we eliminate the risk by keeping the task manual? Can we mitigate it by building robust appeal paths and human-in-the-loop review? Can we minimize it with technical guardrails? Or is there a clear remedy available if things go wrong? Remember, some harms, those involving life, rights, and dignity, cannot simply be insured away or compensated after the fact. They must be prevented by an accountable human governor. The goal of AI governance isn't to reject technology or render it powerless. It is to ensure that we remain the ones steering it. We should use AI boldly as a partner, an analyst, and a challenger to our own thinking. But we must be disciplined enough to guard the human line. If a decision carries the weight of a human future, the final decision must be made by a human. AI can provide the evidence, but only you can render the judgment. AI can organize the case, but only you can own the outcome. Use AI to augment your capabilities, but never allow it to replace your moral authorship. If a decision is serious enough to require human control, the evidence behind it must be verifiable. And that is the topic of the next video, Principle 4, Trust Requires Verifiability.